Welcome to Pittsburgh. So, the Steelers have named several key additions to their coaching staff on Friday. They have named Tom Arth as a quarterbacks coach, Zach Aiani as a wide receivers coach, and Matteo Cabo as the offensive assistant. Now, I'm going to give you a quick breakdown of each of these three coaches, what they're going to bring to the Steelers, kind of their roles, what they're going to do, and the history and background, where they've came from, whether that be in the NFL or past experience in football. First off, let me just say this. It seems like in the past, the Steelers coaching staff is always one of the lowest paid coaching staffs and always have one of the least amount of coaches in total of every other coaching staff in the league. So at least it seems this offseason, they're adding more people to the staff and actually growing it and actually having people in certain departments instead of having one guy run the whole show. So they've added multiple people, and I'm going to start off by kind of going over Tom Arth and what his history is and what he's going to be bringing to the Steelers. Tom Arth comes from the Los Angeles Chargers, as he was the former assistant coach there last season. And looking at him, he actually played quarterback at John Carroll, setting numerous school records. He spent 3 years as a backup with the Indianapolis Colts, never appearing in the NFL game, but at least he was in the NFL. And after making several more stops, including one with the Green Bay Packers and several others in different leagues, he then started his coaching career in 2010. He returned to John Carroll as a coordinator and recruiter before becoming a head coach 2 years later. He consistently won there. He became the head coach at Chattanooga in 2017, spending 2 seasons over there. He then was hired as Akron's head coach in 2019. He spent 3 seasons over there, but compiled a 3-24 record, so he did not do a good job as the head coach. But then, the Chargers, they hired him as their pass game coordinator specialist in 2022. Arth has spent the last 2 seasons with the Los Angeles Chargers, and during his time with the team, he was part of a staff that helped the offense rank 5th in passing offense and 11th in total offense during his tenure. He also obviously helped Justin Herbert become the quarterback that he is today, being one of the best in the NFL. So, he's worked with Justin Herbert, and he got the best out of him, allowing him to become the best version of himself and become one of the top quarterbacks in this league. So hopefully he's able to come in with the Steelers and work with Kenny Pickett if that's the direction the Steelers choose to do, if they don't choose any other quarterback to become the starter, and if Kenny Pickett still has that job next season and the Steelers believe him. Hopefully he's able to come in, work with Kenny Pickett, and is able to allow Kenny Pickett to become the quarterback that we envisioned he could be from day one when we draft him in the first round. And he could become the best version of himself and really help the Steelers team out, just like Justin Herbert did with the Chargers. I'm not saying Justin Herbert is the same level as Kenny Pickett. Justin Herbert is obviously way better, but hopefully he's able to get the best of Kenny Pickett just like he did Justin Herbert. This edition of Arth is actually quite interesting because it has been reported that the Steelers are looking to keep Mike Sullivan on the roster. But you look at what Mike Sullivan did last season, what position on the coaching staff was he? Well, he was the quarterback's coach. So this move of bringing in Arth to become the quarterback's coach is interesting, because does that mean that Mike Sullivan is going to have a different role with the team? Maybe he's going to have like the passing game coordinator job or whatever, but is he even going to stay on the team? There's been reports that the Steelers want to keep him, but does this move kind of move him off the team and kind of move him out of the building, and maybe now he goes to a different team with a different role? Or does he stay with the Steelers but just in a different position on the coaching tree? Who knows? But now it's going to be interesting to see what the Steelers do with Mike Sullivan. Me personally, I thought Mike Sullivan did a good job, especially when he was here towards the late end of last season. He had to take over for the offensive coordinator when the Steelers fired Matt Canada, and he did a really good job. So I wanted to see him stick around. Hopefully they could find a role for him. But I thought he did a very good job when he was here with the team. He was with Big Ben for his final season, and then he was with Kenny Pickett for 2 seasons. So hopefully the Steelers can make him stick around, maybe in a different position though. Now, let's move on to the Pittsburgh Steelers' next hire on the coaching staff. They've signed wide receiver coach Zach Aiani. Hopefully I got his last name right, but he now becomes the Steelers' newest wide receivers coach. It's been almost exactly 1 week since the Pittsburgh Steelers parted ways with their former wide receivers coach. So this was a quick hire. They've now signed Zach Aiani, and they parted ways with Friesman Jackson, who was with the Steelers as a wide receivers coach previously. So Zach, he's 47 years old, and he entered the NFL as a wide receivers coach with the Chicago Bears in 2017. He spent 18 seasons at the college level, working at colleges like Bowling Green, Central Michigan, Florida, Wisconsin, and Tennessee. He is a St. Louis native, and while he was at Central Michigan, Aiani, he helped develop Antonio Brown, who went to have on a remarkable career, obviously with the Steelers, and then he went to New England, went to Raiders, never played a game there, and then ended up with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when he won a Super Bowl. So he spent time with Antonio Brown, developed him, and after spending 1 season with the Chicago Bears in the NFL, Aiani was the wide receivers coach for the Denver Broncos from 2018 to 2022, before he spent the 2023 season with the New York Jets. So in his career, you look at the wide receivers that Zach has worked with, and he worked with the wide receivers like Emmanuel Sanders, Courtland Sutton, the late Demaryius Thomas, Jerry Jeudy, Garrett Wilson. You look at all those wide receivers, most of them were really good wide receivers in this league or becoming them. So Zach, he is focused primarily on coaching receivers, and he enters his 23rd season in the coaching profession in football, whether that be the college ranks or the NFL level. And he takes over for Friesman Jackson, who I said spent time with the Steelers, and he was actually the wide receivers coach for 2 seasons. And before him, they had another wide receivers coach in Heyward, who also spent 2 seasons with the Steelers. So Zach, he decided when he went over to the Jets to become their wide receivers coach, he actually followed Broncos head coach and Jets offense coordinator Nathaniel Hackett to the coaching staff. So you see where he kind of ended up, and obviously the head coach that was with the Broncos kind of wanted him on the Jets coaching staff because obviously he was a good coordinator or a good receivers coach, and they wanted him on the Jets. And now he has a fresh new start away from Nathaniel Hackett, and now he's with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So hopefully he's able to replace the other wide receivers coach and do a really good job. So just in case if you want to hear every place he's been in the years that he's been there, let me just go through his resume really quickly for you. So he started off coaching in 1999 to 2000 when he was with Valparaiso. And then he went to Bowling Green in 2003 to 2006. He went to Central Michigan to coach there from 2007 to 2009. He went to Florida to coach there from 2009 to 2010. Western Kentucky in 2011. Then he spent time in Wisconsin in 2012. And then 2013 to 2014, he was the wide receivers and recruiting coordinator. And in 2015 to 2016, he was a passing game coordinator and wide receivers coach. And then after that, like I already mentioned, then he went to the NFL level, and I already listed his resume with those teams. So that's who the Pittsburgh Steelers hire as their wide receivers coach. Now let's move over to the third and final hiring the Pittsburgh Steelers have made. They've signed Matteo Cabo as offensive assistant. So I'm going to give you a brief history of what he has come from as well. So Matteo, he has signed to the Steelers, and he spent the 2023 season with the Atlanta Falcons as their offensive line assistant. And if that team sounds familiar, Atlanta Falcons, well, it should, because Arthur Smith, the Steelers offense coordinator in which they hired this offseason, he was the head coach in Atlanta. So that obviously means Arthur Smith really liked what Matteo brought to their coaching staff in Atlanta as the offensive line coach and has now made him follow him to Steelers and hired him to the Steelers coaching staff. He really likes what he brought, and he can really help the Steelers because the offensive line and the run game in Atlanta last season and Arthur Smith's time there has been good. So the Steelers now signed Matteo as an offensive assistant, and it could be really helpful. Looking at his resume and what Matteo has done prior to that, he spent 2 seasons in 2021 and 2022 as the Marlon Briscoe Coaching Fellow for the Denver Broncos. And Matteo has also spent time as a graduate assistant at Georgia Southern in 2020. And he was also the running backs coach at Florida A&M in 2019. Matteo actually played center for Florida A&M, where he appeared in 22 games. He transferred from Butler Community College in Kansas, where he earned first-team all-conference honors. So he has experience playing at the college level and also coaching at the college level and coaching at the NFL level. So that's something the Pittsburgh Steelers obviously wanted to add to their coaching staff, and they hire Matteo as their offensive assistant, and Arthur Smith really likes what he brings to the table because that's why the Steelers went out and got him. So that's all the 3 coaches. That's who the Pittsburgh Steelers hired, all 3 positions. Once again, to recap it, they hired Zach Aiani as wide receivers coach, Tom Arth as quarterbacks coach, and Matteo Cabo as offensive assistant. And these are their histories. And once again, just like I said at the beginning of the video, the Steelers don't really go out and expand their coaching staff too often. But this offseason, it seems like they're doing so, adding new people. And that's always good. Adding fresh new people in, and especially to the coaching staff, in which seems like it got stale the past few years. So the Steelers went out and expanded it, and hopefully they really help the Steelers turn around their passing game, their running game, and just this offense in total. So there's going to be a lot of new faces on the Pittsburgh Steelers sidelines this season, and in the coaching rooms, coaching meetings, on the sidelines coaching these players, but I think it's for the best. Even though I don't know any of these coaches really well or what they're going to bring to the table, just from this history that I basically went through about them, it's always good to bring in new people and see what they could do, especially when the older people who have been there for a while is starting to get stale. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below about these hires. Do you like them? Do you not like them? Do you think they should have stuck with the other people they've had? Or do you believe it's like I believe it's good to bring in new people, especially when the offense has not been successful over the last few years? With that being said, that's in this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel down below as well. If you like Steelers content analysis reports, like the video, turn on post notifications, click that notifications bell down below so you never miss out whenever I post the next Steelers video. Go check my last video of TJ Watt getting robbed for Defense Player of the Year up above to your left. And also, turn notifications, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys all later. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.